You are tuned in to On Air with Chris Shanafelt.
Welcome back, On Air with Chris Shanafelt. It's my pleasure to welcome onto the show quarterback out of the reigning NCAA Division II national champion University of West Florida Argonauts, Austin Reed. And Austin, I'm sure that'll never get old to hear. How's everything going, man?
It's going really good. Appreciate you having me. You're definitely right. It definitely doesn't get old here, Matt.
You know, Austin, taking a look back at the special season you and the Argos had last year at quarterback, you passed for over 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns to only 11 interceptions. You also added 6 touchdowns on the ground. You helped lead West Florida to an 8-2 regular season record before going on a magical playoff run in which you guys would defeat Wingate, Valdosta State, Lenoir-Rhyne, Ferris State before taking down Minnesota State Mankato in the national championship game 48-40. Now that you've had a few months to let it sink in, how exactly will you look back at the 2019 season that you and your team experienced?
It'll always be super memorable, just having that kind of an experience, especially as a redshirt freshman, to go through something like that, especially with the seniors that we had, where most of those guys were fifth-year seniors, and they really grew. They built the program from year one to what it has become, and for them to have a senior season go off with a national championship and to be able to win it for those guys and just go on such a magical run, beating 4 number 1 seeds and just doing something that not a lot of people really imagined us doing is always going to be special to have.
You mentioned it, 4 number 1 seeds in the playoffs. All 5 of those games were on the road. You guys tried a lot of miles in that run. I mean, how'd you like playing spoiler to opposing teams' fan bases and cities in general throughout those 5 weeks and being able to do such a thing on the road? To me, that speaks volumes to not only you guys as players, but the coaching staff as well. How'd they keep you guys cool, calm, and collected on the road in those big-time moments and those big-time games?
Yes, sir. I actually like road games more than I like home games. I've always been a super competitive kid, and for me, I love to go into somebody else's stadium, beat them in front of their fans, and then stay in their fans' home happy. I've always loved it. I've always thought it's one of the better parts of sports is being able to go on the road and beat somebody at their house. And, our coaches just kept us super, super focused on the task that we had at hand. Our coaches like to say that everybody in the country was surprised that we were winning, but nobody in that building was surprised. And I think that was honestly how we felt. Everybody in our building knew how good we were, the talent that we had, and that we could beat anybody in the country. And so when teams were surprised to see us win, going on the road, taking out all these winning streaks at home, we just knew that we were good enough to do it, and we weren't surprised at all.
85 minutes before the national championship game, you made a prediction. You said, talk to me after the game. We're going to win this game. We're going to win it all. And you said, you'd like to look back at that moment. And here we are now looking back at that moment. What made you so sure that that special run was going to continue and ultimately end in you guys becoming national champions?
It's just knowing the team that we have, knowing the guys that we had, knowing the way that our coaches were so good at preparing us and being ready. And so I just wanted everybody on our team and everybody in our huddle to look at me and know that I was sure that we were going to get it done. And if they could see their starting quarterback having that kind of faith in our team, being ready to go win this game, that they were going to have that kind of faith in themselves. And so, I've always liked to think that I got a confident side of me, almost like that borderline where you have to be a little bit on that border of being confident and cocky if you want to be great. And so I try to play to that, to my advantage, try to play to my competitiveness and thinking that I'm the best player on the field at all times and try and make it work that way.
And, of course, that prediction before that game goes back to what you were saying about the coaching staff. Everybody seemed to be surprised that you guys went on this run in the playoffs, except for the guys in that building, except for the players on that team. Austin, West Florida's football program is relatively new as well. Last year was just its 5th season in existence, so adding that just makes this much more impressive. What's it like working with head coach Pete Shinnick, the reigning D2 National Coach of the Year, and his staff, who quickly turned this program into one of the best in the country?
Coach Shinnick is just an awesome coach. He's an awesome man. The kind of values and principles that he instills in our program is top-notch. No cussing is allowed in our facilities at all at any time. He's a man that's built on faith, and as a Christian, I believe that it's great to have a man leading you with faith values. And so he's just a great guy to play for. The coaching staff is awesome. My quarterback coach, Coach Nobles, Caleb Nobles, he's only like 25, 26 years old. He was the first ever quarterback for UWF, and he's just, his mind for the game, his love for it. He spends hours and hours and hours watching film and just preparing me to do the best that I can. And so, really it's just us going onto the field and executing a game plan that the coaching staff has prepared for us.
Again, we're chatting with Austin Reed, quarterback of the national champion winning West Florida Argos, also reigning freshman of the year as he threw for over 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns with a 13-1 record as a starting quarterback for the Argos. And Austin, how did you ultimately wind up at West Florida? I mean, I'm not going to lie, it wasn't until week 2 or week 3 when I noticed you had transferred out of Southern Illinois. I know you're from the Florida area. What went into the decision to go back to your home state of Florida, attend West Florida, and play for the Argos?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I went to Southern Illinois out of high school. I felt like I was ready to experience something new, go far away from home, play big-time Division I football. Was very enticed by that, and so my experience there wasn't as all as I planned, but I'm starting to learn that in life, everything that you plan out usually doesn't end the way you think it is. But it's just kind of using your experiences and everything to help you grow. And I feel like that year at Southern Illinois really helped me grow as a man, not only as a football player, and just matured me and really made me see what it was like being a college athlete, some of the things that I wanted in my college experience and some of the things that I didn't want. And so I think ultimately once I was just not enjoying football anymore when I was at Southern Illinois and I really just started to dread going to practice and things like that is when I knew I had to probably transfer out, because I've always been a kid who's had such a love for the game. And for me, once I felt like the love was going away, I knew I had to probably make a move. And so I put myself out there in the transfer portal, and luckily I was blessed with a second opportunity from West Florida. Not a lot of guys are blessed with that opportunity. And so having that relationship with the coaching staff at West Florida when I was in high school enabled me to get them in touch with me when I was transferring. And so thankfully they took a chance on me. They took a chance on a 19-year-old who really didn't have much experience in college and let me have the reins to that team. And I can't thank them more than enough for giving me the opportunities. I'll never take it for granted, never feel like I deserve it, like I'm kind of obligated to have it. I've always just been feeling like blessed to have these opportunities.
And I'm sure nothing was guaranteed, Austin. How did you, in spring ball and in summer training camp, how did you come out as the starting quarterback for the Argos? Again, coming in as a redshirt freshman, you're still one of the younger guys on the team. How did you ultimately win out? What was that battle like in the spring and the summer last year for that starting job?
Yeah, so I actually didn't transfer in until the summer, so I spent a full year at Southern Illinois. I did a fall and a spring semester at Southern Illinois, and so after we finished spring ball at SIU, I put my name in the portal, and then eventually committing to West Florida about 2 weeks into summer break. The coaches just told me, they were like, listen, you're going to get a shot to compete. We're not going to promise you a starting job. We're not going to this. We're not going to that. What kind of a program would we be if we promised you anything? And so they just said, what we will promise you is we'll promise you a chance to compete. And so for me, all I wanted was a chance. And so coming in the summer, just always thought just be the hardest working guy in the weight room, just make an impression. And then in fall camp, when it comes time to shine, just go out there and just do what you got to do. And so, luckily, like I said, I came out there in the fall, and apparently they liked something they saw. And so blessed to have the opportunity going into week 1 to where the coaches decided me and another player were going to take 2-2 drives, and then they were going to decide where to go from there. And so apparently they liked the productivity I brought onto the field, and they were willing to hand me the starting job.
And that's pretty quick turn of events, going from Southern Illinois to competing for the starting job in the summer of the season, and then going on to winning the starting job and now being the quarterback of the best team in Division II football. How about the leadership qualities, Austin? Everybody looks at the quarterback to be one of the leaders of the team. How would you describe your leadership qualities? And coming in as a redshirt freshman last season, again, as the team was going through summer training camp, one of the younger guys on the team, how were you able to gain the respect of your upperclassmen teammates?
I've always just tried to keep it real with guys. I've always thought that one of my biggest traits is that I'm relatable. And so I feel like just being as a quarterback, I never wanted to be one of those guys that the players looked at me like another coach. Because while that's good, I feel like your relatability with your teammates isn't really there. And so what I always pride myself on is that the guys walk into the huddle and that they know I'm one of them. And so guys can come to me about anything. Guys can trust me about anything. And I feel like that takes you a long way. And so I was able to win over some of those guys, not as quick as you may want to. When you got 23-year-olds and guys who have been in a program for 5 years, you're not going to win them right over. And so there was obstacles, and there was times where I'd have to sit down with the fifth-year seniors, and we had to state where they wanted me to be as a leader and what they wanted from me. And so I tried to just take that as a young guy listening to the older players and kind of use it to my advantage, saying, hey, these guys want me a certain way. They're 23. They've been to a national championship before. Obviously, I should probably listen.
And again, you're coming off of a season in which you led the Argos to a national championship victory. You threw for over 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. You had two 1,000-yard receivers in Quentin Randolph and Tate Latio. How'd the playmakers around you help make your job easier, Austin? And how were you able to build chemistry with these offensive playmakers so quickly? You had 5 receivers with at least 5 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, we always stated that we felt like we had the best receiving core in Division II, and I honestly believe that every time I say it. The kind of guys that we have, whether that was Quentin Randolph, who was just a big play guy, the guy who went from being a walk-on to being a single game record holder for yards in a game with 241 or 256 in the Natty, and then guys like Tate Latio, who were just so reliable and just everything you threw their way, they were going to catch it. And, guys like Kevin Grant and Rodney Coates, guys who kind of put me under their wing from the moment I got there and kind of took me in and said, we're gonna help you become one of us and get into that leadership role. I can't be more thankful for those kind of guys. And we're losing guys like Kevin and Tate and Quinn, but we bring back guys like Rodney Coates, like Karan Ashley, like Kevin Chanel, Evan Mitchell, guys who are going to explode into even bigger roles next year. And I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to duplicate that kind of success.
A few more questions with Austin Reed, quarterback of the West Florida Argos, reigning Division II national champions. And this season, Austin, you guys kick off the season at home, hosting West Virginia Wesleyan on September 3rd. What are you guys going to have to do in order to repeat as national champions this season? As you said, a lot of guys are going to have to step up, and you guys are going to be missing some key playmakers. Again, an opportunity for a lot of younger guys to step up in their absence. What are you guys going to have to do to, I won't even go, I know that's going to be the expectation to go and repeat as national champs, but you guys play in one of the, arguably the toughest conference in Division II in the
Right.
GSC. What are you guys going to have to do in order to, compete yet again in that conference?
I think for us, it's just trying not to be more than we are. I think when it comes to that, trying to live up to expectations, I think the best way to live up to expectations is not worry about expectations. And so for us, it's just not worrying about trying to be that team that has to come out there and defend their national championship, or worrying about that team that has to be number one in the rankings and absolutely blow out teams every week. I think it's just going into every game, worried about that game, worried about your job each and every play. And so we start to focus on our defending our national championship, and if we try to focus on all the hype that's going to surround us when the season comes around, and there's going to be guys who are going to be up for preseason awards and things like that, the minute we start to focus on that stuff is when the downfall of our program will be. And so I think we should just try to keep that underdog role and that underdog mentality as much as we can. I think that we should go into every game thinking we still haven't proven what University of West Florida football really is yet, and just try not to build too much hype around this season and try and just go in there and do our jobs every day and just do what we know how to do.
And what's the vibe been like around Pensacola, Florida, since winning the national champion? Again, this is a relatively new program still to college football. Especially since December, since winning that national championship, Austin, how has the vibe changed? What's the vibe like in regards to the West Florida football program?
It's been awesome. First thing I want to say is the city of Pensacola is amazing. It's an awesome place to have a college. I'm surprised it took this long for football to get there, because it is such a great city to be a part of. The city really has rallied behind our program. Everywhere you go, you see posters of the national championship for the Pensacola Mardi Gras Parade. The University of West Florida football team was the grand marshals of the parade. And it's just like, it's a city that just loves football, and it's always been kind of like sandwiched in SEC country between LSU, Alabama, and FSU. And so they've kind of been waiting to have their own football team. And so the fact that we can kind of give them a successful football team out there on the field that they want to come support, and come support at Blue Wahoo, which is just such an awesome stadium. I really love it. I've fallen in love with Pensacola. I've thought about living there after college. It's an awesome place to play football and go to college.
And, you guys have some of the best uniforms as well in college football. Have to throw that out there, definitely. Austin, that's all I have for you, man. Really appreciate you taking the time this evening. Congratulations again on all the success last season, not only, becoming a national champion, but also winning the Freshman of the Year as well. So congrats on all the success, and really looking forward to seeing what the 2020 season has in store for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. God bless.